Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start. Today we shall learn a new chapter, Chapter 8, Composition and Structure of Atmosphere of your NCERT textbook, Fundamentals of Physical Geography. Now let me present my screen. So this is the new chapter, Composition and Structure of Atmosphere. Now let us start. What is atmosphere? You have learned earlier. It is also given here. Atmosphere is a mixture of different gases and it envelops the earth all around. So atmosphere is the thick layer of the air surrounding the earth that you have known. And this atmosphere contains life-giving gases like oxygen for human beings and animals, and carbon dioxide for plants. And the air is an integral part of the Earth's mass, and 99% of the total mass of the atmosphere is confined to the height of 32 kilometers from the surface of the Earth. Okay, and you know that air is colorless, then odorless, okay, and it can be felt only when it blows as wind. So we can feel air when it moves horizontally, and that is known as a wind. Now let us read the composition of the atmosphere. What are the gases? What are the things, matters present in the atmosphere? So the atmosphere is composed of gases, the water vapor, and dust particles. And the proportion of gases changes in the higher layers of the atmosphere in such a way that oxygen will be almost negligible quantity at a height of 120 kilometers. Okay, that means oxygen is merely confined within 120 kilometers from the ground. So for example, this is the surface of the earth, and let us say here from the surface up to here is 120 kilometer. So this is the outer limit of the atmosphere, let us suppose, and here from the surface of the earth up to 120 kilometer we find this maximum concentration of this oxygen. Okay, as mentioned here, oxygen will be almost negligible quantity at a height of 120 kilometers. Means beyond 120 it is almost negligible. Actually, as mentioned earlier, mainly confined within 32 kilometers from the earth's surface, almost all the gases. Okay, and similarly carbon dioxide and water vapor are found only up to 90 kilometers from the surface of the earth. Water vapor and carbon dioxide only up to 90 kilometers. Okay, only up to these 90 kilometers lower. Let us say this is 90 kilometers from the surface, and oxygen, this carbon dioxide, water vapor only up to 90 kilometers from the surface. Okay, 90 kilometers from the surface. Now let us learn about composition of the atmosphere in detail. First, let us take up gases. Do you remember what are the important gases found in the atmosphere? Can you tell me what are the important gases found in the atmosphere? As we mentioned earlier, okay, say we have oxygen constituting 20.95% by volume, okay, of the atmosphere. Then we have nitrogen constituting 78.08%, okay, and then we have, yes, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide constitutes 0.036% by volume of the atmosphere. Then in addition to that, we have argon also. Argon constitutes 0.93%. So altogether, these four gases, that is nitrogen, oxygen, argon, and carbon dioxide, constitute 99.99%, okay, of the total volume of the this atmosphere. And the remaining 0.01% of the atmosphere is constituted by other trace gases like neon, then helium, then krypton, xenon, then hydrogen. Okay, so these are the important permanent gases of the atmosphere. Now let us read in detail. Carbon dioxide is meteorologically a very important gas, as it is transparent to the incoming solar radiation but opaque to the outgoing terrestrial radiation. That means carbon dioxide allows, okay, to pass through the sunlight, but it does not allow to, okay, escape this earth radiation. It captures, it absorbs earth radiation. So it absorbs part of the terrestrial radiation and reflects back some part of it towards the earth surface. And so carbon dioxide is largely responsible for the greenhouse effect. So what do you mean by greenhouse effect? Okay, let us see. I think you might have seen greenhouses used in the farming activities. So we have some photographs. Okay, so this is a photograph showing greenhouse. Okay, see here the roof and the walls are made of glass or plastic sheets. Okay, and here one more photograph also here. So this is another photograph showing greenhouse. Okay, so what is the mechanism in a greenhouse? Let us see. See here, let us say this is the surface, and here we have the greenhouse. Okay, greenhouse is here, and see this greenhouse, okay, made of glasses, it allows sunlight to pass through. So here we have the sun. Okay, the sun radiates energy in the form of electromagnetic waves, and this is in the form of short waves. Okay, and these glasses will allow the sunlight to pass through, and the sunlight will be absorbed by the surface. Again, the surface will radiate back, okay, long wave terrestrial radiation. And this radiation is also known as infrared radiation, okay, IR, infrared radiation. So these are long wave terrestrial radiation, and this infrared radiation cannot escape the glass walls. Okay, it will remain confined within the house, and hence the room is warm up. So this is the mechanism of greenhouse. And likewise carbon dioxide, okay, carbon dioxide, water vapor, then methane acts as this greenhouse. Okay, so let us see here. In this case, see here, here we have the sun, okay, and the sun radiates energy, as I told you, in the form of short waves, Okay, the sun radiates energy in the form of these short waves. Then again this sunlight, okay, will be absorbed here by the earth surface. Sunlight will be absorbed by the earth surface, and again it radiates back. See here, okay, it radiates back. Just see, it radiates back earth radiation, and as I told you, it is also known as infrared. Okay, it is also known as infrared radiation, or this okay, infrared radiation or long wave terrestrial radiation. Okay, see here, it is known as infrared radiation or long wave terrestrial radiation, and these infrared radiations will be absorbed, okay, by this carbon dioxide, okay, by carbon dioxide, then by water vapor and methane, okay, and dust particles, and hence the surface of the earth is warm up, and this effect is known as greenhouse effect. Okay, this effect is known as greenhouse effect, and this is a natural effect, and it is good for us. If there were no greenhouse effect, then see, in the night time the earth would have been very, very cold, and it is because of the greenhouse effect that we can live comfortably. Even in the night time we can stay comfortably within the rooms, okay, in the rooms. So this is due to the greenhouse effect. Okay, so any question regarding greenhouse effect? Remember, these gases, carbon dioxide, okay, allows the sunlight, the short wave radiation to pass through, and it absorbs, it does not allow, okay, it absorbs this infrared radiation given off by the surface of the earth, and some of it are reflected back on the surface of the earth, and because of this the earth surface is warm up. Okay, as mentioned here, see, it absorbs, carbon dioxide absorbs a part of the terrestrial radiation and reflects back some part of it towards the earth's surface, thus warming up the earth, and this is known as greenhouse effect. Okay, and another important gas, okay, found in the atmosphere is this ozone. So ozone is another important component of the atmosphere, found between these 10 to 50 kilometers above the earth's surface, and acts as a filter and absorbs the ultraviolet radiation from the sun, and thus prevent them from reaching the surface of the earth. And if ultraviolet rays reach on the surface of the earth, it may cause many these health hazards, as you have learned. Okay, just see here, just this diagram shows that see, within the stratosphere. So this is the troposphere, the first layer. Above it we have stratosphere, and between these 10 to these 50 kilometers from the surface we have the ozone layer, and this ozone layer filters, okay, and prevents these different types of UV radiation, and thus, okay, see, it protects our earth. So this is the significance of the presence of ozone layer in the atmosphere. And remember, if ozone is found near the surface of the earth, okay, ozone O3, then it is harmful to the human body. It is poisonous when it is found near the surface. But when it is found, okay, in the sky, it is useful to us. You must know that. So any question from your side regarding ozone or regarding this greenhouse effect?
No, sir.
Okay, then let us proceed. Next important gas is water vapor. You know, water vapor is also a variable gas. That means changes its state frequently, say from this gas to water, then from water to this ice, then back to gas again. So it is a variable gas, and this water vapor is also decreases with altitude. The availability of water vapor or the concentration of water vapor is decreased with altitude. As you move upwards, okay, if you move upwards, then concentration of water vapor is decreased. So in the warm tropical region, in the warm and the wet tropics, water vapor may account for 4% of the air by volume. That means you will find a large proportion, okay, concentration of water vapor in the tropical climate, in the hot and the wet tropical climate. While in the cool and the dry areas of desert and the polar region, water vapor may be less than 1% of the air. Okay, in the cool areas, concentration of water vapor is less. Hot and wet areas, high. And water vapor also decreases from the equator towards the poles. That means near the equator you'll find the concentration of water vapor, and it decreases, okay, the proportion decreases as you move from equator towards the poles. And you must know that water vapor also absorbs part of the insolation, part of the incoming solar radiation, that is sunlight, and preserves the earth radiated heat. As I told you, water vapor also helps in the greenhouse effect. Okay, it also absorbs infrared radiation, thus keeping up the earth surface warm. As mentioned here, see, it does act like a blanket, allowing earth neither to become too cold nor too hot. This is what we call greenhouse effect. So another significance of water vapor is that water vapor also contributes to the stability and the instability of the air. Okay, so it's about the concept of stability, instability. So let us see this diagram. See here we have an object, and when we apply a force on this object, then the object will move. That means the object is in unstable state, unstable condition. So in this case it may not move, that means it is in stable condition. Okay, and if you don't apply, then it is under the neutral state condition. Okay, and about the air, see, so this is a parcel of air. Okay, and you must know that when the temperature, okay, when the, see here, when the temperature of this parcel of air is higher than the surrounding air's temperature, then this parcel of air will rise upwards. Okay, see here, T parcel is greater than T air. That means temperature of this parcel of air is greater than the temperature of the surrounding air, and that is why this parcel of air will be lighter than the surrounding air, and hence the air will rise upwards. That means the air is in unstable condition. So in the other case, if the temperature of this parcel of air is lower, is less than the surrounding air, then the parcel of air will sink downwards. Okay, because you must know that cold air is heavier than the others. Okay, and it will move down. In the first case, the hot air is lighter and it moves up. So this is about the stability and the instability. Okay, and about the role of water vapor in the stability, instability. See, this is This is surface of the earth, and let us say this is a parcel of air, and when this parcel of air is heated, okay, as I told you, see, the temperature of this parcel of air will be higher than the surrounding air, and that is why the parcel air will become lighter and it will rise upwards. And when it rises upwards, the volume will be expanded. Okay, this the volume of the parcel air will be expanded like this, and hence due to expansion process, the temperature will be lowered. The air will be, the parcel air will be cooled down, and hence there may be a formation of cloud. Okay, and when there is formation of cloud, then you must know that air temperature may rise up due to the release of latent heat of condensation. You must know that when water vapor condenses, okay, into this water droplet, heat energy is released, and that heat energy is known as latent heat of condensation. And when the heat energy is released, then again this parcel of air may be heated, may warm up, and therefore temperature of this parcel of air will be higher than the surrounding air, and again because of that this parcel of air may rise further upwards. So in this way, this water vapor also contributes in the stability and the instability of the atmosphere, and it is only because of the water vapor that we have weather phenomena. We have formation of clouds, we have formation of fogs, we have thunderstorms, we have rainfall, we have precipitation, different types of weather phenomena. It is only because of this presence of water vapor in the atmosphere. Okay, so any question up to here, boys and girls?
No, sir.
Okay, then see, the last one is the last important composition of atmosphere is the dust particles. Okay, actually these are the particles which cannot be seen by our naked eye. Okay, and this is also very important composition of the atmosphere. I think see this is the movement of dust particles, okay, seen through microscopes. And so let us read. So atmosphere has a sufficient capacity, okay, to give small solid particles which may originate from different sources. That means we find a lot of small solid particles in the atmosphere, and they originate from different sources, and these dust particles include sea salts. Okay, that means these small particles of salt from the sea. See, when see here, this is a coastal area, okay, and see here, when the wave strikes on the coastal area, and because of the force, see, salt particles may be ejected into the atmosphere, and it will be carried far into places, into the land, okay, and hence available in the atmosphere. Then we have fine soil, then we have smoke soot, then ash, pollen grain from the plants, flowers, then dust and disintegrated particles of meteors. So these are the different types of dust particles, and we have some photographs. Okay, see here, this is cosmic dust particles derived from meteors, and we have here some more. Okay, so this is pollen grain, okay, seen through microscopes. Okay, microscope, pollen grains from plants and flowers. And here, so these are different types of soot particles seen through the microscopes. Okay, so these dust particles are generally concentrated in the lower layers of the atmosphere. Okay, dust particles also concentrated in the lower layers of the atmosphere, and sometimes it may be carried up to great height because of the air currents, okay, convectional air currents. Higher concentration of dust particles is found in the subtropical and temperate region due to dry winds. So you will find more concentration of dust particles in the subtropical and temperate region because those regions are dry. Okay, dry winds are there. Desert, very hot and dry, so concentration of dust particles is greater in comparison to equatorial and the polar regions. In the polar region and equator region, we find less dust particle. Okay, in the equator region, it is a rainy place and the rainwater will wash down all the dust particle. And about the significance of dust particle, as I told you, dust particles also help in the greenhouse effect. It also absorbs some of the earth radiation. And dust and the salt particles act as a hygroscopic nuclei, around which water vapor condenses to produce clouds. So this is the most important significance of these dust particle, usefulness of dust particle, hygroscopic nuclei. Actually, see here, these are acting. See here, see this diagram. Okay, see here. Here in this diagram, see this one, represents the dust particle. And see, if the dust particle is water affinity 1, that means if water can get wet, like sea salt, for example, so these water molecules will get wet around it. Just see here, so here this is the hygroscopic nucleus. Hygroscopic nucleus means a very small particle which can get wet by water. Okay, we have some other dust particles also that water cannot be wet. Say, for example, soot particles, and then other particles derived from oils. So water cannot get weight on them, so they cannot be called as hygroscopic nuclei. But since sea salt and then some pollen grains have the affinity to water, so these water molecules will get wet on it. And so in this way, condensation is started, in the free atmosphere. Thus we have one more this diagram here. Let us say this is the condensation nuclei. Size of a condensation nuclei is 1 micron. 1 micron means what? A micron is say 1,000th of a millimeter. So size of condensation nuclei is 1 micron, whereas the size of water molecules is 0.0001 micron, much smaller. And since the size of the condensation nuclei is greater, the water molecules will be attracted towards the surface of the nucleus, and hence condensation will be started. That means the water will get wet on the surface of the nucleus. So in this way, clouds, then fog, these are formed in the free this atmosphere. And you must know that it is due to the presence of this hygroscopic nuclei in the atmosphere that we have this cloud formation, we have fog formation, then we have rainfall, we have snowfall. So without dust particles, without condensation nuclei, rainfall cannot be there. Fog may not be formed. So this is another important point telling the usefulness of dust particles. Remember, hygroscopic nuclei are the dust particles present in the atmosphere which have the affinity to water. That means the water can get wet on the surface. So any question from your side?
No, sir.
Then let us stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining my class.